called terrorists for destroying the property or trying to take over America, this is another conversation that happened a lot. Is like, why are they terrorists, but the people that were burning down cities as part of the BLM protests, why were they not considered terrorists? That was another conversation I saw.
Yeah. So I think terrorist, to be a terrorist, it has to be like destruction with a political aim, basically.
Right.
Like if you have some sort of like political agenda and you start doing violent shit, you can be classified as a terrorist.
Yeah, that is the textbook definition of terrorism, right? It's violence with political aim.
Right. So I think like people that stormed the Capitol, they had a political aim and they were violent.
Yeah.
So that would classify.
Yeah, I also think, yeah.
But BLM, if you have a political aim, I would say that
yeah, specifically
that we all agree with, right? We want equality. We don't want black people, but
it
is a political aim.
To me, it's not just any political aim. This specific political aim was we are trying to stop the government from moving forward the way it's moving forward and change the way it moves forward through our idea of what democracy is. That's what a lot of terrorists are doing.
So this is
their idea of democracy is different than ours, and they think they're wrong. But so are the people who stormed the Capitol.
Right. Now,
to me, that's terrorism.
Well, I think where it gets hazy is that you have to look at the specific like behavior and the action itself. So like when it comes to like storming the Capitol, it seems like, oh yeah, of course that's wrong. But there are certain situations where that behavior is justified. So like if let's say Trump does another 4 years and then at the end of his 8-year, 2-term tenure, he says, I'm not leaving. It would be, I think, at the obligation of citizens to go in and say, nah, you're out.
Exactly.
So the behavior itself is condemnable in this context because we don't feel like it's actually justified due to the nature.
Who gets to decide what's justified or not?
Exactly. The winner does. So let's say these people actually like stormed and overthrew the whole shit and then they won and they were actually able to somehow
they're heroes. They're not treasonous.
They rewrite the history and they go, yeah, the election was stolen. We won it back. They tell all their kids, blah, blah, blah. And then that's how history gets worked. Like when Bolsheviks took over that shit, there was like so few of them. Like
don't use Bolsheviks. Don't use Bolsheviks. Nobody knows what Bolsheviks are.
But any insurrection or coup or revolution starts with like a small group of people.
American Revolution. The American Revolution was not widely supported by every single American. There are a lot of Americans that were businessmen. There are a lot of Americans that were just on the British side. That was just what they thought was the right thing to do. Even during the Revolution, not everybody was supportive of it.
Right.
But they won, and then everybody was like, oh, I guess they're heroes, and we got to go along with that.
Yeah. So destroying police cars like this summer, in any situation, I'm like, yeah, that's wrong, unless you believe that the social contract has been broken. So if you believe that cops are not upholding their duty to protect citizens, then you have an obligation to then rebel against the state.
Well, then to that point, that's what these people believe. The social contract has been broken.
So which is why I have empathy for like the guy that's like trapped in some rural area that's plugged into like Newsmax, that's getting like all this information, truly believing that all this shit was stolen from him.
Clarify for any crazy people listening. That doesn't mean you support what they did.
No, of course
you just
not.
Understand how they got.
I'm sympathetic because I'm like, oh wow, you got conned. You know what I mean? Yeah. You thought that you were inside the con, but actually you were the mark the whole time. Like you got duped. So I have sympathy for those people. I think they should still be punished for what they did.
Yes.
But I think their behavior is very different than someone that went in like, okay, I know that this election was valid, that the voter fraud didn't like substantiate actual like electoral turnover, and I'm just gonna go in there to fuck this shit up because I want violence and whatever. Like those people, I think
I agree with
I have sympathy to a certain extent. Like I have sympathy for belief, but I don't have sympathy for action.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like you could believe the crazy shit, and I could feel bad for you. Like I could see somebody get radicalized and like think these horrible things, and then I start going, "Oh man, it sucks that you were tricked into believing these things," and I hate that you live in this vacuum that allows only one belief system that you have to kind of believe in order to exist within your tiny little town.
If you don't believe it wholeheartedly, you're a separatist or crazy or whatever.
And but they'll ostracize you completely.
But then you kill a cop.
But killing somebody based on those beliefs is where I don't have any empathy.
100%. Which is why when it comes to like...
sorry to interrupt, but like because there is a social contract that exists even within those beliefs.
100%.
Which is the cops handle justice.
100%.
And when you take justice in your own hands, you are breaking that contract that you made with the cops.
I think you can also have empathy and still think that sucks. I see how you got there. You'd still be punished within the harshest measures.
100%. Yeah. It's the same
harshest
thing.
measures is the punishment for treason is you die.
Well, it depends on if these people were like convicted of treason or like whatever their actual conviction is, depending on what they thought they were doing at the time.
Exactly. So that's the other thing that goes on with it. I don't think everybody there thought that they were going to overthrow the government. And I think that that's clear by the people taking selfies inside, right? Yeah. Like when they actually got in that position, I think a lot of them were like, oh yeah, we never really knew what we were going to do here. We were just essentially blowing off steam because we're upset that Trump lost.
Some people knew what they were doing.
And those people, you could argue, could be punished. But how do you decipher who those people are?
And I think you just have a case-by-case trial for all the people that are
involved. Be a lot,
now, here's the question. Now, here's the question. Should the same energy be kept with the people at BLM. For example, the vast majority of the people there at these protests were going, we need to make sure that we just protest for what we believe in and we keep it safe and we don't destroy any property and we don't do anything that could take away from this movement. And then there was a couple of people there that violently looted, killed somebody, blew up buildings, caused massive property damage that destroyed businesses. What should happen to those people? Is what those people did treasonous per se?
They should have a fair and just trial based off of the specific circumstances of what they did.
I guess my point is like the severity of treason in our eyes, right, brings us to a point of death, right? Like if you commit treason, you die, right? It's really, really, really severe. It's the most severe. Nothing is more severe than death. So can I apply that to the people at the Capitol? And can I also apply that to someone in Minnesota that lit a police station on fire? Am I okay with them dying because of that? That's where it gets tricky.
When I say harsh as possible, I'm not a death penalty person in general, so I would remove that from my own. But I see what I said. So I don't agree that they should all be put to death.
Yeah.
But 25 years, 30 years, 40 years.
I agree with punishment. I agree with punishment for crime. We're all on the same page. But like for whatever, treason, the punishment is death, bro. So it's just like.
Okay.
Okay, go, Al.
A couple things.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to separate. If you have empathy for them being tricked and actually believing that they're doing something to save America, then how can you not have empathy for them protecting America and taking the actions that they have? Like, how do you separate the two? Because if they truly believe that they're doing something great, like how the American Revolution, we believe like, we're fighting against British. We were being treasonous at the time to the government that was controlling us. So you have to have empathy for the action because they think they're doing the right thing.
The empathy for their action.
For their action. How do you separate them?
Well, it depends on what the action is. I think if the action is killing people, then that pretty much in all circumstances, unless it's self-defense.
Let's remove the killing of the cop because not all of them were doing that. Let's just say storming the Capitol.
Right. So like if it's like destruction, all the other shit, like they should definitely be still punished for what they did because the action itself is illegal.
So here's the thing.
But I understand from a personal level, I get how they get there.
And that's what you're trying to say. You have empathy for the action. And that's what we were saying last week, or at least it was on the, maybe it was on the Patreon. No, I think it was on the Patreon. The idea is if you truly believe that like you were stopping the most vile human beings on the planet from corrupting a country that you love, it is heroic to put your life on the line to do that.
Yeah.
So you have empathy for that if that's what they believe.
Yep.
That being said, who is the arbiter of that truth? Unfortunately, it's the victor, and they lost.
Right.
So their truth
and literally
is now false.
Rudy Giuliani, before, like the day of on the steps, he goes, all right, if we're wrong, we're going to get made fools of. If we're right, a lot of people are going to jail. So let's have a trial by combat.
Yeah. It's a wild
literally
boy.
Word for word, like
Wild
what
boy.
he says, like the day of. So like,
so
these people are sitting there and they're like, okay, we're trusting the
That's
plan.
wild.
We believe Rudy Giuliani. Like he's never lied to us. He's always been honest. We got to trust him. Then he says this. You go, all right, fuck it.
And that's where I would say to you, I can have empathy for
in.
the motive to the point, even where I can have empathy for how you did that action, but you still got to be punished. You broke the law.
Yeah.
A kid that sells drugs to feed his family. Hey man, I have empathy for that motive. You still sold drugs and fucked up a lot of people.
Yeah.
You get your punishment. Even though the thing that you wanted might be good,
Yeah, like, you break a window on accident, you
or if you
still got
want to
to
move
pay
down
for it.
south because it might be hypocritical, but at the same time, I take my lickings and then we all have a better life. Everybody else you provide for everybody.
Also,
and their families. So
everybody's comparing
like
BLM with the storm in the Capitol, and I think. I don't know if you can really consider BLM treasonous because they weren't trying to overthrow the government.
Correct.
So I think that's the separation.
That's the discrepancy that I would make as well, because BLM wasn't saying, hey, we want to stop America from existing and we want to have a different way of America. My understanding of BLM, the protest, was we want the rights we're supposed to have. America's lit. Yeah. We would like to be lit too.
Yeah.
So, it is the opposite of treason.
So I don't get how you label them a treasonous group.
No, I don't know
like
where
they could be destructive, riots, all that shit. Yes.
That's where these Twitter conversations.
I haven't heard
it's hard to have
treason.
nuance in 140 characters or whatever.
Sure. No. But it's not like they were essentially being labeled treasonous. What I think is the distinguishing factor with the Capitol situation is treason, right? Because that means death.
Right.
Right. And people are comparing these two, and I don't think they're comparable. I guess for that reason is most eloquently said, Al, is that they're not asking for something to change in America that wasn't promised.
Boom.
As far as I can understand.
They want the promises to be kept for them as well.
Now, we can go into the BLM organization. We did it in the Netflix special where the organization itself wanted maybe a more socialist, or people might even say Marxist approach to America.
Yeah.
You could say that is changing America in a way that maybe most Americans might not want to support. But like we said in the special, the marching itself.
Yes. The people out in the street.
People out on the street who don't know who the fuck Karl Marx is.
Yeah.
We're just like, yo, can black people not get shot by cops if they don't do nothing bad? Is that cool?
Right.
Boom.
Which I think,
The people at the Capitol, though, they thought, oh, the election were promised fair elections, and then we didn't get a fair election. So now we got to go get a fair election.
Yeah, I understand. Again, I have empathy for the motive.
Did they want it? Did they want a fair election, or did they want their guy to win no matter what?
I think most of them wanted their guy to win, but I think some got duped.
I think they convinced themselves on some level, whether consciously or subconsciously, this was rigged and stolen from us. And you believe the truth that's convenient.
Because that's the only way you can rationalize wanting your guy to win.
Yes.
You tell the stories and the narratives that are convenient for what you want.
It's a logic to justify your emotion.
Yeah.
So now, can we
Can I say one more thing, and maybe this is crazy, but why it's different to me?
Right, because it's warmer down there.
Can we get a full-size NBA jam? Is that where you're going to go with this?
Things are open. We can go play basketball. We can have fun little hijinks.
Yeah.
We can do
Dave and Buster's.
We can go to Dave and Buster's. We can play pranks. You know what I mean?
Oh, and if you want to make up for that, the mini thing we have outside, there is an asshole that reached out to us. He's willing to make us a custom arcade machine that has like over thousands of games, and it's a regulatory size that we can
Put me in
all
touch with
fit
them.
on
I'll
it.
take it out of the Patreon.
Here's the thing about that.
Yeah.
I don't like it when there's multiple games in the one thing. I'm stupid.
Yes.
Because now you could put all those games on your phone.
That's why we don't reply to your text messages. But keep going.
Golly.
But I don't like it. I don't like it.
Come on, son.
Yeah, it feels like a shortcut. I actually get what you're saying.
It's
You like the game?
I want, if I'm going to get an arcade game, I want the nostalgia.
Yeah, you want Terminator with the guns, with the
gun,
one game.
I want the joystick to look like it. Sunset Riders.
Simpsons, Street Fighter, all I want. Like, come on.
Nah.
Bro, just get on your PC.
Put me in touch with this guy.
Yeah.
Put my gift to you guys. You will pay for this machine. Put me in touch with this guy.
2,500. Not
Right,
bad.
you're going to negotiate an
Why
odd
is
number.
everything 2,500 to you? I'm starting to think that you're
it's a
taking
nice
some of this
round
money.
number.
That's how you afford these fucking clothes. Go to the wide angle.
It's a nice
Alex
round
shouldn't be able to
number.
afford these clothes.
It's a nice round
Go to
number.
the wide angle. Are we in the wide?
He said 1,800.
Are we in the wide?
We are in the wide.
He's trying to pay off his Tesla slowly.
This guy got a
2,500
Tesla.
at a time.
I'm selling drugs, bro.
You see
I
his
know
new
how much
phone?
you make.
Why you gotta
Because I
snitch?
pay you it.
Why
You
you gotta
shouldn't be able to
snitch?
afford
You
all
see
this
this?
stuff.
Why
He
you
got
gotta
the
snitch?
newest
Y'all
phone.
snitching.
He probably got new sneakers on.
IRS is not listening to
New
this.
hat.